Welcome to episode 1 of the Growth Hack Podcast. My name is Marcus Slater. I'm the founder and CEO of AdCloud Agency, Slater Digital Group, and of course, the Growth Hack Podcast. The Growth Hack is really something we wanted to bring to the forefront because there's a lot of just generic advice out there about growing your business and how you should do this and how you should sell and how to treat consumers. We spend so much time in the scalable growth area for brands and companies across the board that we really wanted to just create this community here to talk about how to do that. And so we're excited to get this off the ground. And also I want to share a little bit about myself and my backstory, where I come from. I am originally born in South Florida. I grew up in South Florida for most of my life. I always had a knack for business. I always had to be moving. I always had to be doing something. I was probably about 13 or 14. And I remember going around the neighborhood and I would write out these little notes to all the neighbors and stick them on their doors if they didn't answer. Of like, hey, let me mow your lawn for $10. It was super cheap. But to me, as I was a 13, 14-year-old, it was a lot of money then. That was probably my first really kind of intentional self-awareness of, okay, I kind of like this hustle. I control how far I can go. The next thing you know, people are calling, we're doing a lot of lawns, and I started to really like it more and more. The evolution of that over time, I started to get into other things in the music industry and do different things, but I always just leaned towards the business side of everything I did. I wanted to understand how everyone did their job, what it was, and how I could do it. I wanted to learn about every job that there was so that I could hopefully be one of the smartest people in the room at that time. And, over time, I surrounded myself with mentors in all of the things that you should do. And I highly recommend this if you're an entrepreneur or you're just getting started. Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, that have done more than you, that have experienced different things than you, because it will help you fast track all the learnings in business, and there are a lot of them, the good and the bad. It kind of went from there into doing a lot. I used to travel a lot and market t-shirt sales and all of these types of things, and we would meet on average thousands of people every night, and it gave me a little bit of an insight into how people function, and that's where I started to understand why people do what they do, why they buy what they buy. I was naturally kind of gifted on the technology side to understand technology, to be able to do those things. I started to learn a little bit more about business and advertising and found a passion in that, which has led us here today. I came up through franchising, spent many years in franchising with beauty brands, service-related brands across the board, had great success there in growing those brands. I came up with working in franchise brands and working under great mentors as chief marketing officer, chief growth officer, and eventually decided to launch the AdCloud Agency. The AdCloud Agency has existed for a long time, even pre-AI, but we really put a focus on AI intelligence. Obviously, it is embedded in everything that we see today. I think that this year, 2025, we are going to see AI do things we never thought possible. But at AdCloud, we take learning seriously. We want to build really strong long-term growth strategies. The faster we can learn, the better. And that's where AI comes into place. We had a fantastic partner in TrueLark, which is a partner brand of ours that houses the AI, and it allows us to essentially interact with clients in real time via SMS, and they can book appointments, they can ask questions, they can do all of these things. And it has changed the trajectory of what we do as a company and what we do for our clients and how they engage and how their potential customers engage. But I think most importantly, we know how to put the customer first. And one of our core values coming out was client focused and customer focused. Client meaning the direct partnership we have with a business or brand, and then their customer. Those are the two most important things before we ever get involved. In that essence, we really kind of try to bring that into it and make sure that stays at the forefront of what AdCloud is and how we build these bigger picture options. There are a lot of small business owners, franchise owners that have stepped outside of the corporate world. We see that so often. You had a corporate job and you're like, you know what, I'm thinking 10 years ahead. I need to buy into a franchise, a system that's solid, that has proof behind it. And I want to take that and start to figure out, okay, How do I grow this and maybe open one location now, two more locations later, so that eventually you can do what? Leave corporate America. The problem in that is that franchising isn't that easy. I wish it was. If it was, we would all be doing it. But when you go into that, marketing is the hardest part of solving that. There's systems and operations built for everything else. How you intake a client, how you do all that. But marketing is the one outlier that oftentimes is overlooked. And when you get into it, you're starting to realize, gosh, I have to invest a lot of money in this. I have to now figure out where these clients are in my locale. And it was creating this massive marketing gap in the franchising world for these entrepreneurs who are just looking for a way to retire, to have this recurring income, semi-absentee. We built AdCloud to fill that gap and to really put a focus on franchisees who got into this and are trying to find a way to continuously grow and open store 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And that's an area that we really kind of pride ourselves in helping. That is a core focus because we believe in those business owners and what they're doing. That's a little bit about me. Getting back to the growth hack, this is just one of those things where some people say, what do you mean by growth hack? And I have spent my career just saying, give me any problem and I can find a way to hack it. Whether I am the expert in it or not, I can find a way to make it work. Marketing related, technology related, day in and day out as a business owner, when you wake up, you have got to figure out how to growth hack every part of your business, whether that's a staffing problem, it's a revenue problem, it's a retention problem, and it's really focused on these kind of unconventional, creative, bolder strategies to achieve growth faster. How do we optimize everything we're doing? How do we figure out how this all plays into that part? And then you get to the end of the day and you're like, okay, we did this. And now you're going to wake up tomorrow with a brand new set of problems and things that you have to figure out. We wanted to call this the growth hack to really focus on what we do as a team day in and day out in problem solving for hundreds of companies and brands, figuring out the nuances of what they're doing. When we look at a brand, we are not only affected by lead generation or things in that nature, our results, and that brand is affected by, sure, top line, how are our marketing results? Are we generating interest? Are we generating leads? But are they having staffing issues? Did they lose a staff member? Is utilization up too much to where people can't book appointments? Is there issues in client retention because services are down or memberships being sold? We have to look at all of those things as if we own that business and try to help growth hack those along the way so that at the end of the day, everyone is successful. Not only our marketing efforts, but everything that's happening once we send that person into that location is successful beyond any other uncontrollables. The Growth Hack podcast here is really just focused on what we learn day in and day out, sharing with you to take some of these actionable insights of, hey, how can you better run your business more efficiency? What things should you be looking for in membership sales? How do you increase your membership conversion? If you're a membership brand, which I know everyone is going to that, it's a great place to be. How do you increase conversion? And then how do you increase retention? That is the membership play. It can be fairly easy to get members, but how do you keep them coming back? Especially in the fitness world, that can be one of the toughest things to do is to retain because there's not always change. It's just kind of the day in, day out. You go, you work out, you come home. There's not a lot of change in that. You have to find ways to entice people to stay. And that really plays across most membership models. Then we talk about the personal side of it. I think the struggles that we all go through, the struggles that we see as business owners, that I see. I am not once removed from this as a business owner. We see all different things, whether that's staffing related or just general business exhaustion, the continuous thought process of where do we go next? How do we do this better next year? How do we create more of a community? Our hope is that the Growth Hack becomes a home for you to come and find some answers, find some relief, and then hopefully find some tactical advice that you can implement on your side to drive business growth for your brand or for your clients. You might be another marketing agency, you may be a social media manager, whatever that is, and you're here to just learn. Hopefully you'll be able to take from this and embody that in. But I think most importantly, and you'll probably hear us talk about this often, make sure that you are putting the client first in everything that you do. Without starting with that, everything else becomes void. I think that's something that we'll talk about a lot throughout the podcast episodes. But we're excited to be here. We're excited to share our knowledge going forward, and I'm looking forward to future episodes.